The Zoom master has already started the meeting. Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmasters club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I am Paula Tozer, your Sergeant at Arms for the meeting. Now I'll read the club mission. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leadership Speak is the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer, Corinne, has her virtual hand raised so we can all immediately see who is keeping time. Our Toastmaster of the day who will lead our meeting is Bindu Thankappan. She is a doctor by profession and a Toastmaster by passion. She joined Toastmasters in 2021 and has been active in her community club in Chennai, India. Her main interest, other than being a prime example of a self-aware leader, is observing nature. Please help me to welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Bindu Thankappan. Take it away, Mel.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Paula. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all, wherever you are. Welcome to Leadership Speak. Leadership Speak, one of the top 5 clubs globally, of which really make self-directed leaders. That is the key word, self-directed leaders. And how a self-directed leader perform without being a self-aware leader. Is it not? Just type it on the chat. What you think about a self-aware leader? Are you a self-aware leader? Let me share my story. Few years back, as I'm a doctor, I have a neurotechnician named Richard. He's a young chap. He used to do meticulously, but he was not punctual. And I, being such a disciplinarian, would sometimes get pissed off whenever I see him coming at odd times. And one day when he came late, you know what I did? Man. Hey, Richard! This way of asking him had really put him down. He took leave next 2 days, and when I inquired about him, I came to know that Richard's mother was ill, was hospitalized. I was really dumbstruck. Am I a leader? Am I a self-directed leader? No. I can't be unless and otherwise I embrace self-aware leadership. That is the cornerstone of effective leadership. Everything starts with why. You might ask, why should we be self-aware? Leadership is based on building relationships, and we know that unless and until we are aware of our own emotions, our own strengths, our own weaknesses, how can we lead a team which is comprised of very many people, very many people with different strengths, different emotions, and different perspectives? Having said that, I would tell you to just introspect and look at what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. I, on that day, realized that my weakness is hot temperament. So, having known that weakness, I made strategies to control, to master away it. And here I am, proudly saying to you that Richard is back with all his skills and with my inspiration. The cornerstone of effective leadership being a self-aware leader, let us see how we can inspire a team. If we know about our own strengths and weaknesses, we can understand the team better. We can understand each person. I'm just reminded of Maya Angelou's quotes. I have learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget what you made them feel. Is it not true? So being a self-aware leader, we can really navigate the challenges, manage complex relationships, and bring the team forward. With so much authenticity and integrity, we can bring our team forward. And the key area that we need to know is self-aware leadership. How can I be self-aware? Having said that, our meeting has got various segments, and I'm not the only one. Let us invite the tools for the meeting, TTM Tony. But before that, let me invite his evaluator, Toastmaster Hannah Schmidt. Toastmaster Hannah?
Sorry, the toast is going to be Tony. I have no introduction for him.
Let us all get ready by taking a glass before I invite TTM Tony. So join me in inviting toast TTM Tony Bratschitsch. Over to you, Tony.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster of the Day and fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. As we know, our theme for the meeting is self-aware leadership. Socrates, the Greek philosopher, said a long time ago, know thyself, meaning we must recognize the limits of our own wisdom and understanding, knowing what we genuinely know and what we have yet to learn. So we always must learn. Then later, Immanuel Kant, a central figure in modern philosophy, said in 1797, know thyself should be understood as an ethical commandment to know one's heart and to understand the motives behind our actions. And this is central to what's called the golden rule of behavior and conduct. He called this the categorical imperative. Then, almost 200 years later, 1995, in a Harvard Business Review article, psychologist Daniel Goleman, and we've heard his name many times at Leadership Speak, interpreted know thyself as self-awareness, the first of 5 capabilities of his theory of emotional intelligence. And we know what that's about. Now, Goleman, he went on to describe 6 different leadership styles that are required for you and I to shift through the right time, for the right reasons, to help others become more successful. You know, the relationships that Bindu talked about. And for Goleman, leadership started with self-awareness, knowing thyself. And then 23 years later, in 2018, in another Harvard Business Review article, organizational psychologist Tasha Eurich took the concept of self-awareness in leadership one step further when she discussed 2 basic categories of self-awareness. First, internal self-awareness, which represents how clearly we see our ideas, our values, inspiration, and impact on others. So you might say introspection, which is the word of the day. And the second category was external self-awareness, to see how other people viewed us, which means feedback. We must have feedback on how our self-awareness is impacting other people. So therefore, leaders must actively work on introspection, seeing themselves clearly, and how others see them. Now, Dr. Eurich said only 10 to 15% of us understand that and do that. 10 to 15% only. So we have to always keep on top of it. Therefore, the concept of self-awareness has evolved from Socrates, know thyself, and his internal wisdom, to Immanuel Kant's external golden rule of how we treat others, to Daniel Goleman's emotional intelligence of leadership and self-awareness, to Tasha Eurich's balancing the introspection of internal self-awareness with the external point of view. So in other words, to be effective self-aware leaders, you and I, must continuously balance our wisdom with our actions. So balance our wisdom with our actions. You might say we're on a journey, and at Leadership Speak, we share this journey together. So please prepare for your toast by unmuting yourself, getting your glasses in your cups, raising them, and joining me in saying the toast to self-awareness in leadership.
Self-awareness and
Awareness
leadership.
Thank you, everyone. And back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you much, Tony, DTM Tony, for the toast. Let's have the self-aware leadership as a practice, not just an attribute. Practice and ongoing practice shaping us as leaders. So let's now invite the timer of this mastery, Toastmaster Kareen Dactus. Over to you, Kareen.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. I'm Karen. I will be your timer during this session. According to the agenda, you will see the different timing, the green, yellow, and red card, and I will share with you the different reports between each part, speaking and evaluation. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Kareen. Do you want to know the word of the day of this meeting? Come on, let's invite Toastmaster Afan to know today's word of the day. Over to you, the grammarian, the English teacher.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the meeting. Our word of the day for today is introspection. Can you guys unmute yourself and repeat? Introspection.
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 Thank you so much. So in relates to our theme for today, which is self-aware leadership, introspection means is observation or examination of one's own mental and emotional state, mental processes, for example, the act of looking within oneself. So this is very important for us to become self-aware leadership because we can see to ourselves whether we are already a self-aware leadership or still in process. And also my role for today is to observe the use of language and also to the praises or beautiful quotes for today. So let's give it up and use this word of the day as much as you can so you can enrich your vocabulary and your self-aware of leadership. Thank you. Back to Toastmaster of the meeting.
Thank you very much, Ashton and Brown, for the word of the day. Let us introspect all within us in the journey to leadership. Now, it's time for our educational session by the educational speaker of today's meeting, Toastmaster Mamadou. Before inviting him, I would invite his evaluator, Toastmaster Paramjit, to speak about his speech details.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the day, Bindu.
Zoom Master, can you please? Thank you.
Today, Toastmaster Mamadou is presenting a speech from his Pathway Motivational Strategies, Level 5, Prepare to Speak Professionally. And the purpose of this project is for the member to practice developing and presenting a longer speech. And speech length is 18 to 22 minutes. Thank you very much. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Paramjit. Toastmaster Mamadou. He is an innovation professional, an advocacy expert, and passionate about training and executive leadership and business coaching. He lives in Lagos, Nigeria, as a versatile social entrepreneur and NLP practitioner. He is an attitude and personal development enthusiast. Let us all welcome Toastmaster Mamadou for this educational session. Let's all learn from him. Over to you, Toastmaster Mamadou.
Yeah, Bindu, you rock. You really rock. I feel energized and lift up. How and what a great environment to learn and to look. Wow. Just must have been. What a fantastic energy. You lift everyone in the room today, and I feel lift up. Who are you? How do you feel about yourself and how you see yourself? What questions, right? You see, most people are really unaware. Most people are unconscious. They really are half asleep at the wheel. Most people are really just sleepwalking. They live, they work, and they even think at the surface level. Well, picture the alternative. Imagine if you could raise your self-awareness, and Bindu said that's right, to know exactly your strengths, your weaknesses, your areas of improvement, and what makes you click. and what motivates you, and what makes you procrastinate, because it happens to all of us. What sets you off? Imagine if you could have the best relationship with the most important person. That's you. Imagine if you could better lead the leader in you and the leaders around you. Leadership expert John Maxwell says that you must know yourself to lead yourself. Which leads to self-awareness. We know that the first person that we need to know is yourself. Being able to see yourself clearly as you are, not more, not less, leads to a healthy self-image. So there are things that we need to do to get there. And our word of the day says it all: introspection. Self-leadership starts with self-awareness. You cannot lead someone we don't know. And as they say, what you don't know controls you. What you don't know controls you. As I'm about now to share my screen, I want us to reflect on this question, or just to consider this question. Have you ever taken a personality test? Please tap in the chat 1 if you have. And don't bother typing. We don't want to put anyone in the spot. Just type 1 if you have already taken a personality test. And if so, how are you using it? While I'm preparing now to share my screen. Yes, I'm almost there. Share from beginning. Yes. I hope everyone can see my screen, because I have to know myself as well and know that there are things I still struggle with, and that technology. And that's about self-awareness. You have to know yourself and know your limits. That's how you start learning. And today we learn more about personality types. And learning more about our personality type and the people around us leads to what? To self-awareness. So we learn about ourselves as leaders and to learn about others and to discover what makes each of us unique, because we are unique. When you know yourself, you know you are unique. And you know our strengths. And to learn how to better communicate and to influence positively. It takes introspection to do that, constant introspection. So now I want to invite you to begin a little test. Here, please just open your mic or type in the chat what you can see here. The image on the left, bottom left side, highlighted in red. What can you see here? Oh, yeah, zebra. Well done. Then next image. That's right, a zebra. And then what can you see here? Based on the pattern, you can see what animal is represented here on the bottom right corner. Giraffe. Wow, we have brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And that's really a giraffe. A giraffe here. How about this on the top left hand side? Let me see in the chart. Tiger. Wow, brilliant. Congratulations. A beautiful, huge giraffe, a tiger, of course. Then the last one on the top right corner. What can you see here? Let me see in the chat. Dalmatian, wow, a dog, a Dalmatian. Brilliant. Obviously, it's a beautiful Dalmatian puppy. What can you see here? We realize that based on the patterns and some indications, we can see clearly what to expect and who to expect. That means that when you know the pattern, when you know the behavioral pattern, you know how someone communicates, you know what can trigger which emotions in your team, in your spouse, in your partners, in the people you lead, you know what to expect. And when you know what to expect, you know how to prepare and how to deal with them and how to interact with them and how to have successful interactions at work, in life, basically. So that's what we'll see here. And the same holds true for human beings. When you know exactly the behavioral pattern of people around you, you know how to motivate them. You know how to minimize conflict. You know how to manage conflict, and you know how to place them. Like Gary Chapman, I think, said in the 5 love languages, if you don't know your partner's love language, you don't know the people in your environment love languages, you will be doing something thinking that you are doing things the right way while it's not touching them. It's not because they are mean, it's just because you are not speaking their language. And if you are not speaking their language, you can't influence them. And the same leadership of John Maxwell says that a leader is someone who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. And for you to be able to show the way, you have to be able to connect. That's why he added that people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. People don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. Why? Because people want to know that you value them. And you can't value them if you are not speaking their language. You can't value them if you can't connect with them. So we have to learn to recognize those patterns. And that's why here, knowing that there are different ways to recognize the patterns, there's self-reflection, there's also taking action, as someone mentioned here, taking action. I spoke with Toastmaster Baron yesterday, and he told me that he was running a marathon today. And as a marathon runner as well, I know that when you do things like that, you take action, it pushes you to your limit. And you can't know how far you can go until you push yourself to your limits. And there's self-reflection, there's action, taking action, and also we can do test, personality test or behavioral test. And today we'll cover the DISC personality indicator that has been identified by Dr. William Mason in 1928 in his book, Emotions of Normal People. Dr. Mason realized that in people, there are different types of personalities. He classified them in 4 categories. He classified human behavior in 4 categories. Did you hear me well? I'm not saying he classified humans in 4 categories. He classified human behavior in 4 categories. That's dominance, influence, steadiness, and compliance. Each of us has one or this set of personalities that dominate. But most of the time, we have all 4 at different degrees. And after you've done a DISC personality test, and the one for John Maxwell is based on leadership, you will see that you have either 1, 2, or 3 different personalities that come together. You can be DIS, for example, or you can be an IS, or you can be a CD. We'll see that later on. So as you can see, in a room full of people, there's a way to recognize patterns and to know how to deal with each personality. You will see some leaders saying, it's like I'm preaching in the desert. You know what? They are right. They are really preaching in the desert. They are preaching in the desert of lack of conscious awareness of who they really are. There's communication style, their leadership style. And you remember DTM Bram did different presentation on the importance of knowing our leadership style, our communication style, of who we are as an individual, as a leader. So back to our leaders who say sometimes that they have the impression that they are preaching the desert. They are preaching the desert, a desert of conscious awareness of the people around them, a desert of conscious awareness of what can hurt them. Taking us back to our example of the 4 animals that we recognize by the pattern. If you mistake a tiger to a Dalmatian puppy, it can turn very bad. So you have to know what to expect and who you to expect by the pattern and know how to deal with them. So here they are, the 4 different personality types. As you can see here, the D stand for dominant. They are outgoing and task focused, while this I is also outgoing but people oriented. They are the star in the room. And the S, which is steady, they are people oriented but reserved. While the C is compliant, task oriented. You will see in the company, they are just in the corner. They just want to do their work. They want to get to the result, and they don't want people bothering them. They want peace. And if you want peace, you have to know their pattern and how to connect with them and how to successfully interact with them. And then you can succeed with them. So this is our different personalities that we will discover one after the other. Have you ever known someone who's direct? When they manage a project, they want to be in control. They are forward focused. What they want is the result. Don't tell them how you get there. Don't tell them it's been difficult. Don't tell them how many times you call the customer. They want the bottom line, the result. How did you get there? Those are our D friend. They are decisive, direct, and focused on the results. And they are driven by authority. And for you to be able to communicate with them, you have to know the pattern. And first of all, to know the pattern, you have to do your own test. You have to reflect. You have to do your own introspection. You have to reflect on your experience with them and how they show up so that you know how to connect with them. You have a leader like that or a colleague like this, just be brief, go to the point, and don't tell them, don't rumble. Don't tell them where you get how you get the result. Don't tell them how it was difficult. Some will waste time or take time, not waste time, take time to explain how it was difficult. But they don't care about how it was difficult. They want the result. Can you relate or can you recognize some of us in the room who are like that? Next is our friend who are fun. You might know someone around you who is fun. The life of the party, they like to tell stories. They like to come alive, fun. Always be joking, and they want to be in the spotlight. So when you are around people like this, don't complain about their character. This is who they are. Try to learn how to communicate with them. Know that they are people or they are people person. So you have to be relationship oriented as well and know how to trigger their emotions, how to encourage them. And when you are with people like this, don't do all the talking and don't ignore their ideas. Give them room to socialize, to speak, to discuss. And once you have a meeting of a nice, wise person, when you get back in your office or later on, send them a recap of the meeting. Don't think that because they were excited and they were laughing, they were really enjoying the discussion, they heard you. They really enjoyed, but you have to outline the summary and send it back to them. It's getting interesting. And as you can see here, is there someone you know in your environment who is loyal, dedicated, and are the backbone of the family or the company? They can be counted on to support any project that you have. They are loyal and they can be trusted. Those personalities, when you are communicating with them, you have to give them time to adapt and create a friendly environment so they can learn, so they can adapt, so they can really find the sweet spot and bring the best to the work or to the relationship. And last but not least, you might have known someone or you know someone who is compliant, who focuses on the detail. They are organized, they're structured, they are good planners, and they want the figures, accurate figures. You might send them all the details, and then a couple of days or a couple of hours, they will come back to you that they need more details. Are they just trying to bother you? No, that's their style, that's their personality. How do you communicate with them if you don't know who they are? And how do you communicate with all four personalities if you don't even know where you sit in the DISC personality style? That's why it's really, really important to know who's who, what are the patterns, and what to expect from them. So you can prepare to interact with them, managing your own style, leveraging on your strength, your sweet spot, and also minimizing your weaknesses and not even bothering for some areas that you might not be good at. And that's why partnership helps. You can outsource or you can hire someone to do things that you know naturally are not your sweet spots. So for a C-style person, you have to provide the facts, detailed facts, and be very specific so they can learn and adapt and enjoy the relationship with you. Oh, I hear you asking, is it not a way to put people in boxes, to label people? No, in the contrary, it's a way to free us, to know exactly who we are, and as leaders to know what to expect from each member of our team, from our spouses. I know of spouses who did this personality test, patterns that need to bother them, to drive them into troubles, now drive them to burst in laughter. Why? Because they know how to interrupt the patterns, because they can recognize those patterns. Well, what shapes our personality? What shapes those different personalities of us? First of all, we have heredity. From birth, we inherit some characteristics from our parents, from our family. And then we have the environment, our experiences. Life experiences, especially emotionally charged experiences, affect us and affect our personality. And last but not least, we have role models who even might reward us for certain behaviors that they want to reinforce in us. Why is all this so important, you might ask? Again, the same John Maxwell says, connecting increases your influence in every situation. So how can you connect if you don't know yourself? And how can you connect with someone if you don't know, again, as Gary Chapman will say, the love language? What triggers which emotion in them? Communication is important, and you can't communicate if you don't know yourself. And communication basically is either to influence, motivate, to connect, or to educate. And for you to be able to communicate, you have to know yourself, to engage in introspection, and do your personality assessment and reflect on that and use it. And you might ask, what's the best personality style of these four these personality styles, DISC? The answer is your style. Your style is the best when you know your style. You won't be tempted to be someone else. You will be yourself, and you know what to expect from yourself in different situations. And you know your strength, your weaknesses, and you know where to play at your strength zone. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Mamadou, for that enlightening session. Wow, I really was amazed at the words that you're using. What you don't know, control. If you don't speak their language, you cannot influence them. And in Maxwell's disc method, we all learn a lot from your session. Now, it's time to invite the first speaker of the day, and that is Toastmaster Rivero. Toastmaster Rivero has joined Toastmaster in January 2012. He served as Area Director, Division Director, and Pathways Guide, and earned 2 DDM awards, one from the Legacy Program and other from the Pathways. Although recently retired, he planned to keep working voluntarily and Toastmasters to keep his skills alive. Wow, what a vision for him. Let me invite his evaluator, Toastmaster Deborah Walker, to enlighten us about his speech details. Over to you, Deborah Walker.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. Ray is working on the Team Collaboration Path, Level 3, Project 1's Successful Collaboration. The purpose of this project is to deliver a speech about the experience with the collaboration process used to make decisions, the learning and perceptions of the experience. This speech is not a report on the content of the project itself. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Deborah Walker. Let me invite Toastmaster Ray Rivero for his next speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Ray. Stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Give me a moment to go ahead and get my PowerPoint presentation. Whoop. I'm sorry, I'm having some technical on the fly issues here. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fellow Leadership Speak members and guests. Have you ever thought of figuring out a way of improving a process, but you had no idea how to go about it? I do. And that helps open up a way to just successfully collaborate with others. It's a type of introspection that we all can benefit from. So I'm going to share with you today the process of uploading our Leadership Speak meeting recordings onto our YouTube channel as an example of where to do the collaborations. Why do I want to do this? There's a few reasons, but the most important one is time. Another is the exposure to educate ourselves just in case something happens and I'm no longer able to continue with uploading the videos. But how do I organize this? How do I make sure that we can figure out together ways to bring things to improve our process? I'm glad that you figured that out. First of all, I'll just go with the agenda of we do some pre-work prior to the meeting. And then what happens during the meeting. And then where the bulk of the effort is after the meeting with downloading the files from Zoom, uploading the video recording onto YouTube, and then posting an announcement on WhatsApp. And then after I have this outline, where can I invite people to help me out or work with others, like the public relations team at Leadership Speak? First is setting up the agenda. Agenda is just one of the two things I need for the pre-work. The other is actually the graphics that announces the meeting, which I end up using on the Leadership Speak YouTube channel. And what is the information I need to get from the agenda? Things like the theme, the meeting number, the names of the speakers and the projects and paths that they're working off of, their evaluators, the Toastmaster Day, among others. Oh, I almost forgot. You would like to know about the date when this meeting occurred, right? Just say yes or no, either on the chat or just a thumbs up. That'll be fine. Moving forward, when I'm at the meeting, there's a few things I try to keep a track of before I, even when I have a chance to attend the meetings. I have to be sure that we have that the agenda is followed. Are there any changes like today? I tried to make that updated. And I also wanted to include the best speaker and the best evaluator, among others. And then after the meeting, well, I take about an hour break. There's two reasons. One, there's a lot of information that gets processed during our meetings. I just need a time to just relax a little bit. And it's also the amount of time roughly that it takes Zoom to convert the information recording into files. And there's about 8 of them. 6 of them are videos, one's a chat, and one's actually a closed captioning, which I'm going to share more about that later. First, I download the Zoom video onto my computer. Second is that I rename the files using the date and the meeting number as a way to identify the files. Then I upload the meeting video to the Leadership Speak YouTube channel, and that includes like creating I clicked on the creating that button and then select the video to upload, which is usually a high I won't say high density, but I can't remember the word at the moment. So it's like it's like a 1080p high high performance, for lack of a better word, video, which has a lot of the details of each of the speakers and what happens during the meeting. Then I insert the title with the date and the theme. Insert a summary into the description, which is a lot of the information about the meeting itself. It's almost like a summary of what happened at the meeting. And then I insert the graphic describing the meeting in the agenda as part of the thumbnail. And I go ahead and I publish the video and post the announcement on YouTube. I need to understand the process, because if I'm going to ask for help on collaboration, I need to know what to expect, what to talk about, and where can these improvements go. I could ask for, how can I cut down time to do the pre-work and during the meeting, and especially after the meeting. One example of one thing that I've been working with is with Anjali Wesson, another one of our members, about using ChatGPT to capture a more accurate transcript of what has transpired. When we started working, one of the things she asked me was, do you have a file, closed caption file that we could use? Or the ones I've been deleting? Let me go check my recycle bin. And thank goodness I had a few of them there, and I just restored that. But you never know what you're going to use in the process until you go and talk with other people, find out what they need. That's just an example of just collaboration. It could be small, it could be large, but it is still collaboration no matter what the level and impact. And overall, so when it comes to just collaboration, it's about figuring out what you need to have done, what would you like to improve upon, and how you can involve others to get there. This is still work in progress. It will always be a work in progress, but it's always important to bring people in to help you do the job that you're doing. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Rivero. You know what? After this meeting with us, this will be seen all over the world via YouTube. And the sole person behind is none other than Rivero. Thank you very much for that enlightening session. Our next speaker of the day is Toastmaster Leya Musunga. She is the VPM, the Vice President Membership of Leadership Speak. She's an avid reader. Leaders are readers. So that's she. Now, let me invite her evaluator, Toastmaster Terence, to enlighten about her speech details. Over to you, Toastmaster Terence.
Toastmasters and guests, I have the pleasure of evaluating Toastmaster Leya's speech this evening or this morning or whatever time it is, wherever you are. Leya is attempting her level 4, project 4 in the innovative planning path. And the project is building a social media presence. The purpose of this project is for the member, that is Leya, to apply her understanding of social media to enhance or establish a new, to enhance or establish a new social media presence. The purpose of the speech she's about to deliver is for her to share an aspect of her experience establishing or enhancing this social media presence. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Terence. Over to you, Toastmaster Leya Musunga.
stage, Azia. There's a famous saying, imitation is the best form of flattery. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Who here can attest that when they attend leadership speak meetings, they are wowed and amazed by all the technology and the different innovative aspects that go into these kinds of meetings? I definitely am one of those. I always find it amazing that when you look on the Zoom registration, that there's that banner right on top with the speaker and the Toastmaster of the day shown. And there's the narration that follows that's going to be telling you more about the meeting. What about those reminders about the meeting? Whether it's 2 days before the meeting, 30 minutes before the meeting starts, that always encourages me to know, oops, the meeting is about to come on, time to log in. I must make a confession, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I have copied all of that. In my own home club, Havarani Toastmasters, I saw all this amazing stuff that is done in leadership speak, and I decided to copy and paste. And from the time we started this Toastmasters year, I must say, because of the daily reminders, the meetings we have had so far have had a minimum of about 40 people on the Zoom call. Thank you so much, Leadership Speak, that I was able to copy and paste. A few weeks into our EXCO roles in my home club, Havarani Toastmasters, our current VPPR indicated that she wasn't familiar with some other social media platforms. So she asked for assistance. I raised my hand to help with Instagram. And then later on, I heard people in this meeting talking about streaming to YouTube. Idea! Another thing for me to copy and paste. I quickly checked if our club had a YouTube page, and when I discovered the page that was there, we no longer had access. I decided this was something that I would try to incorporate into our own club meetings. I quickly Googled and figured out how to start a YouTube page, because I must confess, all I ever do on YouTube is watch videos. Upload a video, never done that in my life. Once I figured out how to stream to a YouTube page, I created an account for our club, and I shared this information with our EXCO on how we could engage more with our club members. Because sometimes after our meetings, people want to see themselves. They want to be able to see, how did I speak? And I knew it would also be a great way to engage guests who want to see the quality of our meetings. Because again, I must confess, all the brilliant stuff I've learned in this club, in my club, copy and paste. A few weeks ago, we started streaming to our YouTube page. Another thing I learned was, after you have uploaded your video, always ensure that you advise the rest of the club members and the guests who have indicated that they would like to know more about the club, that the video is available on YouTube and they can go and check it out. Right now, I must say that our page is slowly growing, as it's only been active for the past 4 weeks. We currently have only 7 subscribed members. but my goal this year is to grow our YouTube page. So far, with me copying and pasting what happens in this great club, telling people that the video is available on YouTube, has definitely seen an increase in people watching the videos. And I'm hoping as time goes on that we'll have more subscribers to the page, and that maybe we'll also start creating short reels that people can enjoy if maybe they just want to focus on the speeches, or maybe they just want to focus on the evaluations. I'm hoping that by the end of my tenure in my club right now, that our YouTube page will have grown exponentially, such that this will be a place that other people will be able to come if they want to learn more about Toastmasters, hear various speeches, or even be encouraged by the evaluations that are provided in my club. And all this could only have been possible because of what I learned here. So fellow Toastmasters, guests, if there's something that you're trying to engage in, maybe grow your own social media page, or maybe excel in another specific goal, you might be surprised that you might actually find information in this particular club like I did. And if you do that, you'll be like me and you will copy and paste. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Wow, thank you very much. I have lots and lots to learn from you, Leya Musunga. Copy and paste. And I like the phrase, imitation is the best form of flattery. Wow. Before telling about the next speaker, I would really encourage and request the guests to hear what in the meeting, to fill the guesswork that is being put in the chat box. Going forward, our next speaker of the day is Toastmaster Nocawe. Nocawe joined Toastmaster in 2021, and she is an environmental specialist. She likes gardening and educating kids about life issues. Wow. She is a current division director. Before inviting her for the speech, I would like to invite her evaluator, Claudette. Toastmaster Claudette.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Nocawe will be speaking from the Presentation Mastery Path, Level 2, Project 2, Understanding Your Communication Style. The purpose of this project is for Nocawe to learn about different communication styles and identify her primary style. The purpose of the speech is for Nocawe to share the impact of her style on others. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Claudette. Over to you, Toastmaster Nocawe.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I have a question for all of you. Do you know the most important thing in communication? To help you, according to Peter Drucker, the most important thing in communication is hearing what isn't being said. One day, as a person who likes gardening, I decided just to take time to walk in my yard, in my house. As a person who likes to pay attention to my surrounding, I heard a noise that was so disturbing, and I decided to pay attention. I looked around to see as to where was it coming from. To my surprise, there was this tall bucket. And I realized that the noise was coming from that bucket. I decided to walk closer. and I stood next to the bucket. I looked inside. Guess what I saw? A frog. It was jumping up and down, up and down. And I watched what was happening there. The frog kept quiet for a while and it continued to do what it was doing. Out of sympathy and empathy, I decided to kick the bucket to liberate the frog. When I was doing my communication style assessment, I was taken back to that frog that I saw the other day. Guess what I received for my results? Yes, it didn't come as a surprise, but I was awed by the results. My leadership style is the same. Equally, I'm equal in all of them. I can be direct, I can be initiative, I can be supportive, and I can be analytical, depending on the situation. And really, I can attest to that. So, fellow Toastmasters and guests, what I have learned meanwhile I was taking that assessment was that it is very important for one to know themselves. I decided to take an introspection, mixing my communication style results and the story of the frog that I saw the other day. And what I learned was that the frog was communicating. It didn't change its language regardless of the environment in which it was in. As a leader, the frog didn't tell me what it wanted or what it expected. But I listened to the language that was not being said. It wanted to be liberated. Hence, my attention was caught in the scene. And I liberated the frog. The takeaway from the story, fellow leaders, is that you do not have to change who you are for you to be accepted in situations. The best thing that you can do for yourself, the best thing that I can do for myself is to know myself thoroughly. If you know yourself, you can survive in any environment, regardless of what is happening at any particular time in your life. We need to learn our communication styles so that we can know when to use what, how to use it, and how do you need to use it. That frog that I referred to never changed its language because it couldn't change the situation. It was already inside the bucket. But because it knew itself, it knew that my language is to jump. It continued to do that. As a leader, I have learned that it is very important for me to always be aware of my environment. Yes, I may not be able to change some environment, but I need to learn to thrive and live in those environments. And the only way to live there is knowing yourself so that you can have a way of how you can survive. Remember, I said the most important thing is to hear what is not being said. So often in life, the situations that we find ourselves in will not tell you what to do, where to go. But learn to pay attention. If you pay attention, you will get an opportunity to hear what has not been said. If you are smart enough to get that message, you can survive anywhere. Because I understood the language of the frog, I kicked the bucket, I liberated the frog, I understood its language. It didn't ask me, but I understood the language. And as a leader, I knew what needed to be done. And I did that. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Nocawe, for telling that you've learned a lot from that frog. You know, even small animals can teach a lot to us. It's very important to know oneself. So it's very important for a leader to know one's leadership and communication style. Wow, what a message, Nocawe. Going forward, our next speaker is Toastmaster Buhari. Toastmaster Buhari holds a bachelor's degree in economics, and he also has been an expert in agriculture, finance, and Islamic microfinance. He is a passionate Toastmaster and a great leader. Before inviting Toastmaster Buhari to speak, let me invite his evaluator, Toastmaster Jessica, to tell about his project details. Over to you, Toastmaster Jessica.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. I have the pleasure of evaluating Buhari Zayyad. Buhari is doing the Path of Persuasive Influence Level 3, and the project is Focus on the Positive. The purpose of the project is for Buhari to practice being self-aware, basically being aware of his thoughts and feelings, as well as the impact of this and the impact of his responses on others. And in addition, the Buhari is to share all his experience of completing this project. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jessica, for that introduction about the speech. Now, Toastmaster Buhari, I'm inviting you to the virtual stage. Enough, Toastmaster Buhari. Toastmaster Buhari, enough. Over to you.
Thank you so much, the Toastmaster of the Day. Enough means different things to different people in different cultures. Some look at enough as contentment, while others look at enough as their starting point. Some say enough when they are fed up. Some say enough when they're satisfied. In trying to achieve your goal, whether it is financial goal, personal growth, marriage or relationship, you need to set a limit on where you think you would be contented. The Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmasters and our esteemed guests, have you ever thought for a while that goal that you've set for yourself, that this is the limit I'm going to accept and say it is enough, and I've had it all, and I'll call it a close that I have achieved? Many a times, personally for me, I set a goal, for example, to save $100. But what I fail to do is plan what to do after saving $100. And it seems like, oh, I have saved $100. But that fulfillment can be missing sometimes. And as such, I would be, is that enough for me? Or you are in a situation whereby you've worked all your life, and it is when that target of a pleasant and luxurious retirement comes that you would remember, do I have enough money to enjoy my retirement? Have I built relationships
that will help me sail through the retirement phase of my life? Sometimes enough can be deceiving. You might think that you have had it all, but all you needed was a little patience. Your boss yelling at you at work. Why didn't you submit this report? This is not good enough. And in your mind, I've had enough. I'm quitting. But have you ever thought of what your life would be like after quitting? Have you ever, for once, thought that if I quit, what will be the implication of that in my life? As such, the analogy I have in breaking down enough to suit me is one. What is my next step after I say it is enough? If I quit this job, do I have an opportunity to get employed elsewhere so that I could earn a living? That goal I have set for myself, when I achieve it, do I have enough satisfaction or fulfillment? As Jim Rohn said, what makes you valuable is not the person that you are, but what you have become during the process of what you do. Instead of saying, enough of this and I'm quitting my job, think of the other part, that your boss yelling at you to submit projects to meet a deadline means you learn resilience. It means you learn patience, you learn perseverance, and you would work under little or no supervision. That goal of $100 would be, oh, after I save $100 and achieve my goal, the next thing I'm going to do, of course, is to increase the limit to $1,000. That would make me a better person. For most of us at Leadership Speak, if I ask you, have you heard enough of being a Toastmaster? You all will say no. And why do I know that? I know that because you left the community club to have a test of diversity of what being a self-directed leader is. For me, after Leadership Speak, still personal growth is not enough for me. I will strive hard to make myself better as a keynote speaker, a conference speaker, a better leader that inspires people to be self-directed leaders, just as I have learned in this great club. Enough is ambiguous sometimes. Enough is relative. But I ask you today, what lies after the decision ahead when you utter that word, enough? For me, I would challenge you today to write 3 goals you would want to review before the end of the year. You want to become a DTM? After the DTM, have you heard enough in Toastmasters? Or do you want to stay back and give back the knowledge you have? At this juncture, I would say, enjoy the process, because the destination will surely come with perseverance and consistency. But what you need to do is to know what you should do after you have achieved your goal. That's when you should question that. Is it enough? Thank you so much. Back to you, the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much for that inspiring speech. You should think whether is it enough after attaining your professional goals. Wow. Now, Our timer will close the time of each speaker of today's meeting. And you can go through the chat about the individual timings of each speaker. Now, let's all vote for the best effort speaker of today's meeting. Again, my reminder, this is for the evaluator. I would like to get the prompt for the speaker. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, PR Master. I would encourage all our guests, leadership speak, to just fill the guest form that's put up in the chat box. Thank you. Evaluation is the breakfast with champions. And we have our general evaluator with a team of evaluators to evaluate on today's meeting. I have pleasure in inviting Toastmaster Daniel Odero as a general evaluator of today's meeting. Over to you, Toastmaster Daniel Odero. The virtual lessons, yes.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, Bindu, for that great session. We now move on to our place where we have introspection. And this helps us with our self-awareness of where we are to see how do we get better. And as Bindu has said, evaluation is the breakfast for champions. To start off our evaluation run, we begin off with the evaluation of the toast of the day, which was given by Tony. To evaluate Tony, we have Hannah Schmidt. Hannah is a Zoom hopper, loving to get acquainted with members around the globe, getting inspired by so many cultures and to model her way. Please give us your evaluation of Tony's toast. Hannah Schmidt, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Tony will have my evaluation a bit later when he joins us again. Doesn't matter. Tony, you brought our attention and emphasized on how long self-awareness leadership has been with us already since 1797, and probably much longer before that already, and how it has been kept alive through the centuries right up to today's meeting. Self-awareness and introspection go hand in hand with internal and external observations as the golden rule. I noticed that you remained seated, yet I still observed how passionately and full of energy you inspired me with your toast. I would nevertheless like to challenge you to stand when raising a toast, as we normally do in all the occasions where we raise a toast. When asking me or us to unmute, open our video and raise our glasses together. Give us a few more seconds to get ready before you raise the toast and to drink to self-awareness leadership. Thanks, Tony, and I'm looking forward to your next assignment, being it how we see ourselves internally or how others see us externally. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Hannah, for that positive feedback for Tony and giving some great pointers of how we can improve the toast, and also some generally to uplift him on how it's the toast came out for you. Great observation. That probably one of the other things I would add on to Tony, probably others, as you had mentioned, what other way can he has to be more impactful at the beginning? But great evaluation, and thank you for that. We move on to our next evaluator, who is Mrinal Kanti Ghosh, who will be evaluating the Toastmaster of the day. And Mrinal Kanti Ghosh on self-awareness says, self-awareness enhances decision-making as leaders can objectively assess situations without letting emotions or biases interfere. It also improves communication, allowing leaders to understand the impact. Mrinal, please give us your evaluation of the Toastmaster of the Day, Bindu. Over to you, Mrinal Kanti Ghosh.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dan. Now I'm coming to Bindu. Leadership is not about being in charge. It's all about taking care of those who you are in charge. It's quoted by Simon Sinek, and you are the beautiful example for conducting Toastmaster of the Day on today's meeting. Yes, I love the theme, self-awareness. You can see the great collaborations between you and Mamadou throughout the meetings. You both are well aligned. Coming to your role before the meeting, that is great example. You created group on 8th August. And you enroll the member in the group 19 and 20 August. It's showing your dedication and proper planning about the meeting. And you try to capture all the members' introductions on 21st and 22nd. So you are well ahead regarding your preparation as a reader and showing you as a self-awareness leader. Coming to within the meeting, you start with your storytelling and how you learn from your mistake and how you way followed it. Next, coming to your role as a Toastmaster of the Day, your positive thing is all about your smiling. You are smiling throughout the meeting. Try to connect with the audience with proper introductions. You feel that all the members are important for you. I think that's a great, I think, part of your end. And another two things I just want to add regarding your strength as an area. That is, I'm talking about stay calm and try to focus on the result oriented. To introductions part, you also follow. I notice you also whether all members are in the right time or not. That part you also observing as a silence characters. So that's a great example. Now, I want to challenge you becoming one of the anchoring in your own seats. You need to develop, you may challenge yourself one parameters like energy level. You just try to put energy in TMOD because everybody is looking up to you. If you are energized, all members automatically be energized. That's what you need to try to bring more in your journey as a him, because you are the him of the meeting. You're the MC of the meeting. And second thing I'm talking about, try to include voice modulations. Just introduce voice modulation. And if you do that, you are a star. I must say, you are a star performer in a role as a TMOD. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Mrinal, for that great evaluation also. You captured the spirit that Bindu has in leading the meeting, and the quote, which was great. It's not about being in charge, but about taking charge, and the things that you pointed out that she did well, but also the areas that you could actually enhance it with, told very well, clearly stated, and then ended on a positive note. Well done with that. I think that gives us motivation, and also anyone can do the role, and we learn from doing the role, and these are the things we pick up. We're not looking for perfection, we're looking for a great thing, but well done with the feedback you've given to Bindu. It's totally helpful. We move on to our third evaluator, who is evaluating Paramjit Singh, and he was evaluating the leadership speaker. And for Paramjit, on his role and about on speaking, Paramjit says that self-awareness is the first step towards improving yourself. If you are not aware, just a moment. He says, if you're not aware of your strengths and shortcomings, you will not be able to provide excellence in anything you do. Paramjit, please tell us about your evaluation. This is an evaluation for Mamadou. Over to you, Paramjit Singh.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator Dan. Connecting and increase your influence in every situation. As a student of John Maxwell, Toastmaster Mamadou, you have made him proud by living, above quote, and influenced everyone in the meeting by connecting with different personalities in the meeting very effectively, with an outstanding, educational, informative, well-researched session. After knowing about communication for so long, I think everybody have a challenge with dealing after knowing so much of technologies, concepts, and still we have a problem with communicating with different personalities. And you gave us a wonderful information. I think everybody, including me, can watch that. We have more knowledge about people, personalities today, and how to deal with them. And you made us aware also about the danger of recognizing the different personalities not properly. Like if you are taking a tiger like a dog, you are certainly going to be fatal for you. That was something very informative speech. That everything you gave us, I think, is a big nuggets for everyone, and we can use them in our daily lives and with communicating with people. Now, things which stood very clear and very good for speech for me. The first thing was your structure was an exemplary. The speech structure was exemplary. You build up the motion in the very beginning. Then you talked about in detail about the deal, how to deal, what are the different personalities, how to deal with them, as well as with the proper transitions at every moment, which kept the flow of your speech, and you never way away from your subject. That was very important. Now your engagement with the audience by asking questions and applying them aptly by reading their answers in chat patiently. And your well-laid slides, which were simple, not cluttered, and very easily readable. I think you use NLP techniques of not putting more than 7 information on one slide. That is very important because we cannot process more information. You are confident, energy level was great. You experienced professional at using vocal variety, added more to the word, more value to the word you speak. Now, things which you can work on with further develop your presentation skill is, as you were set in the Zoom, your hand gestures were out of the screen, and you can make more gestures by keeping your hand inside, or maybe by using more facial gestures, which can enhance your speech level. Your Zoom presence, second, it's better to have a clean background. However, the one photograph which was there behind you, either you could have removed or you could have moved little on the side, one side. Okay, that was much better than keeping it on your head. That could have been very fine. And with all the good structure, good slides, on your confidence and vocal variety, and with just focusing on more on Zoom presence and after gestures, will lead you to become one of the best known keynote speakers. Over to you, General Evaluator Dan.
Thank you, Paramjit. Nicely done there. Very great evaluation, effective. And started off with John Maxwell would have been proud of you. Way to say it, and very nicely said. That motivates the speaker, and then clear points on what things he could work on and how it actually works. That is clear. So he's got a takeaway that is great. What I would probably have then added with all these great points, a nice summary and just key points that you've noted out there would then be a winning evaluation. But thank you for that evaluation for the speech by Mamadou. And we move on then swiftly to our next evaluator, and we have Deborah Walker, and Deborah Walker was saying on the theme, as a leader, self-awareness is extremely important so that you are aware of the impact you are having on others. Deborah Walker, please give us your evaluation of Ray's presentation. Over to you, Deborah.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator. Ray, your presentation. I have a whole bunch of comments written out that I will send to you following the meeting, so don't worry about taking notes or anything. I'll focus in on 3 things: what you excelled at, a few things that you might want to work on, and then 2 things that you can use to challenge yourself. To begin with, you knew your material. Your slides were very clean. They were very clear. You even wore a blue shirt to complement your slide. Yes, I did notice that. It looked very good on the camera. The steps that you presented, they were clear and they were logical. This was very well thought out from beginning to end, and it was easy to follow. Well done on that. Some things that you may want to work on, and these are 3 tiny little adjustments that you can use. One is you can completely skip the good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We already did that at the beginning of the meeting. Just go right into your presentation. Same thing with when you said, I'm going to share. We know you're going to share with us because you have the stage. You can skip that and go right into your presentation. And then when you ask the audience, have you ever, you can take out the ever and direct the members directly simply by saying, have you? Minor adjustments, but it gives you a bit of time and lets you interact with the audience more directly. In terms of challenging yourself, I said there was 2 things. There's actually 3. The first one is at the very beginning of your PowerPoint presentation, if you like, insert a plain black slide. The audience won't know that it's a slide, but you can have it there. Then when your turn comes to speak, you can go right into your presentation by clicking forward to the title slide. This eliminates the seconds that you have to pause, to bring it up, and to share your screen. The second thing is the content of your speech was informational in nature. And informational speeches, they are the hardest to present because they are content-based. A different approach for this could have been to bring the audience in. Here's a day in the life of the Leadership Speak PR master. Bring them in. Take them on a journey with you of all the different steps and all the details that you have to do as part of your role. That will help break up some of the narration because you can add in a bit of dialogue, some of maybe your own internal dialogue. Is there a frustration that you ran into? You know, Zoom didn't convert the file soon enough and you're waiting and waiting. You know, bring the audience in. And then a third thing, at the end of your speech, you asked the audience 3 quick questions. It went by so quickly, I didn't even have time to write them down. For a 7-minute speech, you really actually only need 1 audience takeaway. What is it that you would like the audience to think, feel, or do differently as a result of hearing you? Just focus in on the 1. Well done. And again, I will send this to you immediately following the meeting. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Deborah. That is a sterling evaluation, clearly stating what points you're going to look out for, and telling the speaker, Ray, just listen in, and then your notes will come out later. Very good way of focusing on them. But very good pointers there. A learning lesson, not only for Ray himself, but for all of us who are in the room. It's like a masterclass in evaluation. Thank you, Deborah, for that great evaluation. I don't have anything more to add on it. Well done with that. We move on then to our next evaluator, who is Terence Were. And Terence Were says he values self-aware leadership because understanding oneself is a prerequisite for effective self-leadership and consequently leading others. Terence will be evaluating Leya Musunga's speech. Please give us your evaluation for Leya. Over to you, Terence.
General Evaluator, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. First, I will talk about the areas that I enjoyed and I found effective about Leya's speech. The first bit that I found effective was the choice of the introduction. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. That grabbed my attention, and it's memorable, and I believe the members who are in this meeting can attest to that. Second, the choice of the title, copy and paste. Copy and paste is something we all do all the time, and it grabbed my attention. I wanted to know more about what aspect of copy and paste you had to talk about today. Third is your use of stage. I will go back to the example of copy and paste. I liked how you made use of your stage and you were able to show us copy on your left and paste somewhere in the middle. That was effective. The fourth area, I mentioned three, but the fourth area that I would also talk about is the purpose of this project and the purpose of this speech. I believe you have achieved the two because you have mentioned an aspect. You have taken us through how you saw things being done at Leadership Speak and how you copied and pasted in your club. Sorry, I didn't get the name of the club, but that is something to take note of. As a speaker, there are areas where you can improve, and this brings me to my second part of this evaluation. I noticed that this was your default position with your hands clasped. It felt to me as if you were nervous, and this was that expression, and you kept going back to it. I believe with time you can work on this so that you are able to free your hands and give them a neutral position. The second bit that I believe you can also improve on, which I also seem to have a challenge with, is the lighting. I noticed that the ring light reflected on your glasses. This is an area we are getting tips on, and we can vary the angles and make sure that the light is consistently away from our glasses. Mine is a bit off right now because of time, but that is an area you can improve. To wind this up, I would also challenge you on the next part, which is to make intentional gestures. For instance, when you talk about, I liked how when you spoke about the 4 weeks, you raised your hand and showed us 4 weeks. But when you moved to talking about 7 followers, you had your hands wide open. I was hoping you could either show 7 or just show that they were many. And with that, I come to the conclusion and the summary of my evaluation. I liked how you grabbed our attention and used gestures, and I would challenge you to make the gestures more intentional. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Terence, for that great evaluation. Also, you pointed out what you're going to speak about, and you gave great tips about how you Zoom presence and things you've used by actually gesturing and showing it. Some other points then came up during your some points you remembered and you added that in, which took away some time. There's a lot of points that probably you can add in and give feedback on, but it's maybe would be some of the consideration to just have the 3 and then have the rest ask, and then you should write the rest of the point that you want to give in, and to have put in all here, because I don't notice your time run out a little bit, but well done with the tips given, the effective ones you talked about, and you showed exactly areas that she can work on. Thank you for that evaluation. Well done with that. We move on to our next evaluator, our fourth evaluator, Claudette Thomas. And Claudette Thomas says that self-aware leadership is important because it helps her to recognize her strengths and areas for improvement, building strong relationships, and motivating others to succeed. Claudette will be giving us evaluation on Nocawe's speech. Over to you, Claudette, for your evaluation.
Thank you, Mr. GE. Nocawe, I thank you also for your inspiring speech. We don't care what isn't being said, but we should pay attention and be aware of our environment. And then you don't have to change yourself. Thank you for that message, which was delivered very clearly. Well done. Nocawe, you excel at your storytelling skills, and you were effective at using the frog analogy to demonstrate your communication styles. And I believe this was memorable. Pay attention to your environment, and you stressed that a few times. And this was a message I took away. Depending on the situation, you can use all of the communication styles: direct, initiative, supportive, and analytical. And you certainly did that with the frog after you kicked the bucket. Know yourself, and you can survive in any situation. Be aware of your environment. You kicked the bucket and you liberated the frog. You listened to the language of the frog. And it's the same way you're telling us we can listen to language if it's not been said. Your delivery skills, you demonstrated how the frog was jumping, and you had some other effective gestures throughout. Your Zoom presence, Nocawe, you were centered and you had good lighting. That was effective. Consider probably raising the camera up somewhat so your eye level could be the same way, so we can have some more eye contact, Nocawe. And instead of at the beginning telling us that you'll be asking a question, you can just launch and begin right away with your engaging question. That would draw us in closer to listening to your speech. Also, you can consider using the width and the depth of the camera frame for effectiveness. To summarize, Nocawe, you excel at your content, your storytelling skills, and repetition of your message. Know your communication styles and know how and when to use them. That was effective. Also consider raising the camera up for effective eye engagement and starting directly with a question that you would engage us instead of telling us that you'll be asking a question. Overall, Nocawe, thank you for your inspiring speech, memorable about the frog. We learned your communication styles, which you used all of them depending on the situation, and your message about knowing yourself and your environment. Thank you for sharing your story. And I'll be paying more attention to my environment from now on. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Claudette. Thank you, Claudette, for that evaluation, giving out good pointers and pointing out the areas that were effective there. So what effective, not just what you liked, but what was effective and how it worked. Pointed out maybe the repetition, and also when you're having a question, just to launch in was a great information there. Great, well done also with the summary. So you pointed out, once you've given your pointers, the summary of what points you should work on so that you can remember it, and that was clear. And then also motivation to carry on to the next speech, and looking forward to that. That was well done with your evaluation. Thank you, Claudette, for that. Our final evaluator is Jessica Matabata. Jessica says self-awareness is the first step to change and greatness. So you can never change what what you're not aware of. Great leaders adapt and change to be effective. Jessica will be, please give us your evaluation for Buhari's speech. Over to you, Jessica.
Thank you very much. With Buhari, what I'm going to share here is that I really thought it was a powerful speech. What I think worked really well, Buhari, was that with your title was really powerful. And what you did when you started us with giving us multiple perception of how enough can be seen by different people. And you went ahead and throughout your speech, you weaved that into all the examples that you gave us. I thought that worked really powerfully. That worked well. And then you did a great introduction of what, when you shared about your goals, you shared about what insights you learned from when you, for example, when you saved your $100, what are some of the things you set yourself a goal, and then you learned something from that, and then you pushed yourself to the next goal. So that was really great. I loved how you did that. And also what I liked was you had a really powerful call to action at the end of your speech, which meant you asked all of us to set ourselves a goal, and with that goal, learn to know that beyond your goal, what is it that you can do? I thought that was great, having call to action. I thought that some of the things that I felt you could have done a lot better was, for example, your Zoom presence wasn't super effective. It looked like you were a bit crammed. There wasn't enough space, so it didn't look like you could move enough. And also, as a result, your gestures, we had fantastic gestures, but they were cut in half because of how the camera was. So we could see the ends of your gestures, but not the whole gesture. So I think in the future, maybe if you could just adjust your camera settings so that we could see your gestures well. And from my side, I don't know whether it was my side or you froze, but however, the audio kept going, so I went with that. I'm not too sure whether other people experienced that. So your video froze, but at least we could hear your audio throughout till the end of your speech. I thought you gave us really good insights. You reflected actually on what the purpose of your speech was, which was share with us some of the insights that you've had when you were sharing the journaling. So I thought that was really great. You achieved that goal. All in all, it was a great speech. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to hearing your next speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica, for that evaluation. Great start, and I'll talk about the powerful speech. Probably one of the things that we could consider when you're talking about the points that we would work on, instead maybe saying consider that and then pointing out the areas. You did point out some of the areas that he should work on, but sometimes when we have too much on the converse side, it could take away from the power, how great the speech you said was at the beginning. So maybe just balance the converse with maybe consideration, and maybe some of the words would be to have what can he work on differently. So something else differently. So we don't take away from what you actually gain as positive and then take away and say it is actually powerful. So that is my version on that speech, but very well done with that. Thank you for that, Jessica. We move now. I'd like to ask the timer to please put the timings of the evaluations on the chat. And as she's doing that, I'd also like to call the grammarian to please give us his report, the grammarian report. Alvin, please give us your report on the grammar used today.
Thank you so much. So this is a grammar report for today. I really enjoy to listen to all the speakers today. And here's some observation. First, I heard someone say, I feel lifts up, and I thought it should be lifted because it is passive. And if you mistake, yeah, this is, I believe that the speakers is aware of this, but sometimes I just want to remind that mistake is a noun, so you have to add the verb before the mistake. Your boss yelling at you, also tiny, should be your boss is yelling at you, yeah, missing the B. Give back what you have. On this, actually, there are no error on this sentence, but in the context of the speech, I believe it should be give back what you gain, because speakers' content is about having the experience and then give back to the community. So giving what you gain. And the next one is also common, and I would like to remind all of us to be aware of using a second verb if you talk about something that happened in the past. The same as the previous, voice modulation is a noun, so we need to add adjective before it, or you can just say try voice modulation, yeah, without to. And the last one, the choice of the title. Actually, there is nothing wrong, but I think it is better if you use the title selection. I think it is more advanced rather than the choice, because deciding the title, it means you select from the options of the title. Like if someone decide to shoot the ball, we can hear usually the commentator say about the shoot selection, not the choice of shooting. And here are the good use of words. Yeah, imitation is the best form of flattery. Yeah, and your structure is exemplary from Leya and Paramjit. And quotes of the day, I'm very enlightening for today. There are a lot of quotes that I can learn. Thank you so much. Back to our GE.
Thank you for that very comprehensive report. Well done presentation. Nicely done. We now move on to our trainer for some critical thinking on our meeting. Over to you, Bram, to give us some feedback on that area. Bram Memon, critical thinking, our trainer for today's meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. I mean, Mr. GE. Why am I here? And why is this role even here at all? Well, what we are trying to do is trying to improve upon how our speeches are constructed, how our evaluations are done, because we are an advanced club. So we want to sort of up-level our skills in speaking and evaluations and everything else that happens in the club. So it's all about, guess what? Self-awareness, right? This is what we talked about today. And how we all affect the meeting. The meeting is always about the audience, and every one of us is an audience, and especially our guests. They are the main audience, really, because without guests, we wouldn't be doing anything about growing the club. So the audience, all presentations and everything that we do must be about the audience and what we are doing for the audience. The Toastmaster of the day, when they begin, or the Sergeant at Arms or the Zoom Master, they're the key roles. And how we begin the meeting is very, very important. In conjunction with that, how the Toastmaster of the day engages the guests right at the very beginning is one of the key aspects of a meeting. Engaging the guests, which means here's a guest book, please sign the guest book, welcome guests, and so on. And the measure we have is how many guests actually signed the guest book, is how well that was done, that part of the meeting, right? And so on. So I will ask the VP of membership to communicate with the TMOD in the future and how they seed it and how they're measuring the results, which would be the vice president membership and the Toastmasters. They can do that. All right. Now, you didn't expect me to say that, right? It's very, very different. We are an advanced club, so we are thinking way outside the box. It's all about leadership. And the audience itself, when people are doing their speeches, how the presentation is structured. Did they begin with a conclusion in mind? What was that call to action? And I see that there were quite a number of calls to action, and actually some evaluators actually did mention the call to action as well. And when you're structuring your speech, how did you open your speech? With a conclusion in mind, and what was your title? And therefore, how you opened the speech, how you constructed to the conclusion that you had in mind and the call to action, and the presentation, whether it informed, inspired, motivated, persuaded, or entertained. What did it do? Let's look at Deborah's evaluation. She actually covered all these points that I hear right there on the screen. Deborah is an advanced evaluator and an advanced speaker and a certified speaking coach. So obviously she did very well in that direction. Our speakers also did very well. In some of the speakers, I wasn't able to hear all the speakers because while I'm writing notes from the previous speaker, the next speaker is already there, and I'm writing notes for the previous speaker. Our speakers did well, but wherever I could catch that they did or heard them. I loved Mamadou's presentation and how it was. What I would ask Mamadou is to begin and to open your speech that grabs the attention of the audience. And I find that even in your previous presentations, you're a little bit weaker on that part. Even I am sometimes a bit weak in opening. It's that inertia. How you overcome that inertia? It needs a lot of energy to begin a speech. And then once you're in the flow, everything begins to flow. It's overcoming the inertia and beginning a speech is what you may have to look at. And lastly, Mamadou, is the end of the speech. People were wondering, what is this disc? Where do I get it from? There's a lot of resources, so you could have given a link to us or asked us to Google it, because you Google it and you'll find a lot of free resources for the disc. John Maxwell as well uses a disc by licensing it from the original institute where it was created. I think that institute is actually a few miles from where I live. So that would have been a bit helpful for the audience in that terms. Otherwise, the presentation was excellent. In between the opening and the closing, very well done, Mamadou. Even the closing was done well, except for the link and where we could access that if we wanted to do the presentation. The next one that I really paid attention to was Buhari as well, another West African. I think both are from Nigeria. No, correct me, Buhari. I think you may have, you're not in Nigeria. Senegal, maybe. I could be mistaken. But I loved the speech and how you created your speech in beginning, and very succinct in enough what it meant and the conclusion and the audience takeaway and what the audience should really be focused on, and a great audience call to action. Very well done. So those things were well done, very well done today. I would, of course, urge our speakers and evaluators to focus on what's right there on the screen with me on here, because this is how we become good at what we do. As well, of course, the Toastmaster today, you did well, except for just a few. I mean, this is your first time. I know you might have been a little bit nervous. Just a few things to catch up on, and so on. Otherwise, this meeting, we since I've been coming on here, we've really improved on how we are doing things. I even like Paramjit's evaluation, by the way, before I forget. And he also focused on structure and so on in the conclusion. And all those things were well done. We are getting to a great place. We have a questionnaire for the speakers and the evaluators that we've created. It's still in the works. It's based on the workshop that we did about 3 weeks ago on evaluations. And actually in that workshop, which was during our meeting time, guess what? More than 80 people had attended that workshop, and it was very, very popular. I've already run out of time. Mr. G, back to you.
Thank you, Bram, for that insightful and very clear evaluation of how we've run and how things are. The reason we're not on the top 5 clubs is because we pay attention to details. And there's a whole team working behind what happens here in the meeting. The meeting began very well. By Wednesday of this week, the meeting was already set. We had almost 100% people who had ticked off, because it's not only about and like probably in community clubs where people have to be followed up, self-directed leaders stand up and come forward and work to see what areas work on and which areas that they need help in. With a team, then you have possibility of going towards a meeting that is almost next to perfection. We're not looking for perfection, but we work on having improved. This meeting ran well. We had great speakers. We great Toastmaster of the day with a theme that was clear learnings, great evaluations, all done pretty well. And all the role takers from the sergeant at arms right to the Zoom master to the timer, all paying great attention. And we pick up lots from it. And also focusing on the guests that have come, as Brahma said, what is focused, how are we impacting the guests who are here? So we come in, we normally have, and then the practice sessions, one of the things that also helps us is the practice sessions we do have on a Thursday and we have on something on Tuesday to see how much more can we improve. And then this that we take away from the meetings, we then apply in other areas outside there. Be self-aware. What are the areas I need to work on? What's something I can pick up on? This is great. This is great information and great things that we can work and use in our careers, in our families, in any situation we are in. And more that with that, we stand out and we begin to show the way that says that people say we need to learn. If you need to learn, come into leadership speak and see how leaders are being self-directed, how they're overcoming their weaker areas and seeing how we can improve on that. Toastmasters, as you know, is not some place for the perfect, but it's a place to learn and grow, to be more self-aware. What are the areas I need to work on? What are the areas I can do better on? Who can I learn from? Who can I also show? And in this way, we become better leaders as we go along. Great meeting. And then also the input of the trainer makes it also great. We're always looking back. And also the chat box and people giving feedback. Feedback comes from everybody, even guests. What are areas that you can consider? Because one is not always, we don't have a monopoly of knowledge or how things work. And with 27 different nationalities, we have got people who have different things, what works best in this area, what can work better. So this is all great done. Thank you for that, all our role takers. Thank you for the feedback that we've gotten. Thank you to the speakers for the preparation and the areas they can work on. And with that, I'd like to then hand it back to the Toastmaster of the day, Bindu Thankappan. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Dan Odero, the General Evaluator. You have the ability to guide a team more authentically in the right direction. You have done it successfully. The guest, the dear cream of a meeting. What do you feel about this meeting? We thrive on your feedback. So I request all the guests here in the meeting to please fill in the guest book that we put in the chat box. Now, let me invite Toastmaster Natati Mukansa for the thought of the day. Over to you, Natati Mukansa.
You cannot lead others until you lead yourself. This is by an unknown author. Madam Toastmasters and guests, as leaders, we strive to inspire and guide others. But how can we do that effectively if we don't understand ourselves? The world today needs leaders who understand what constitutes effective leadership. Self-awareness becomes a critical element for effective leadership. According to Amundsen and Martinson and the Toastmaster of the day today, Self-awareness is a cornerstone and a foundation of authentic, servant, empowering, resonant, and transformational leadership, amongst others. Self-awareness is about recognizing our strengths, weaknesses, values, emotions, and our thought system. We have a deep understanding of ourselves when we can lead with integrity and transparency. Servant leaders prioritizes self-awareness to better serve their teams. Empowering leaders recognize their biases to empower others. Resonant leaders tune into their emotions to connect with others. And transformational leaders transform themselves first to transform others. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, self-awareness is not a destination, but it's a journey. Let us schedule time for introspection and self-reflection. Seek feedback from others and be open to growth. Leadership speaker encouraged us to make self-reflection and take personality tests. Let us go for it. Remember, you can't lead others until you lead yourself. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Natati. You cannot lead others until you lead yourself. Wow, what a great thought. I would just invite the awards that for the best speaker and the best effort evaluator. Waiting for that, let me just conclude about the theme self-aware leadership. Let's give a big round of applause to the best evaluator, Deborah Walker. And the best speaker of today's meeting, Toastmaster Leya Musunga. Congratulations to the best effort speaker, Leya, and the best effort evaluator, Toastmaster Deborah. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Told by Mahatma Gandhi, the father of nation of my country, India. By understanding oneself, we can understand others and thus influence and inspire others. So let us all strive towards self-aware leadership to become self-directed leaders. Self-awareness is not just an attribute, but continuing journey, a discipline that is an ongoing process. Part and parcel of a self-directed leadership, that is what we are in a leadership speak. Call to action. Change. Let's be the change that you wish to have, see, and the world out. Thank you. Let me turn this meeting. Let me give the control over to the President, DTM Bram Memon. Over to you, Bram Memon.
Thank you, Bindu. Thank you very much. I see quite a number of guests are here with us still, and that's a good thing. It looks like they were very much engaged in our meetings. And I can see Ernestina Lucas. Ernestina, are you there? Well, while we wait for some of the guests to open their videos or microphones, I'll go on to the next guest. This is the time for guests to talk to us and for us to talk to you and to get to know you. There's also the guest book link in the chat, so please fill that in if you're not able to sort of have a conversation with me right now. Do we have Muhammad Abbas in the room? All right. And then we have To Sung. Hello, To. Okay. Marlene, are you there? Looks like all of our guests have stepped away. They just like to hang in there without actually being around here. So that's okay. With
I
that,
am
ladies
there.
and
I
gentlemen.
was trying.
Oh,
I am
Marlene,
there.
good to see you.
I was trying to fill the report, the guest book report.
Marlene, you've
you
been
for
coming for
having
quite a while now
me.
as a guest. How do you find our meetings?
Oh,
I'm sure they're appealing. That's why you always come back.
As usual, wonderful. And I really add the new written grammarian report. That's wonderful. At least you can see clearly what is being pointed at. That's great.
All right.
Really love it.
And so
Yeah,
now
there's always room for improvement. I love that. So copy and paste. So I will pass that tidbit also to my clubs.
by all means, and if you join an advanced club, you'll be able to do the copy and paste even better. Are you ready to join this club?
Not right now. Give me a little time, and then I certainly will do. That's why I stick to coming. Yes.
I will
I have
certainly
a few
give you more
things.
time. What's your email address? I'll send it over to you.
I'm sorry?
I said I will just send it over to you. I'll give you more time. Just give me your email address and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
It's just humoring you a bit there.
I know that you already have my email address.
Thank you, Marlene. And please do come
Thank
as
you
many
for
times as
having
you'd
me.
like.
Great job,
welcome.
really, very great.
Absolutely.
I really enjoy your meetings, very great.
Marlene, where are you from, by the way?
I am from Haiti.
Oh, Haiti. All right. Okay. We have a member from Haiti, but she's now immigrated to Canada just very recently. You probably know her, usually, right?
Yes, yes.
Awesome. Okay. With that, I think, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've covered everyone here. In that case, I'd just like to say hello to Terence Were. Terence Were, as you know, just joined this last week, and he did an evaluation, being a brand new member, and yet did quite a good evaluation. And as he gets to know more about us, you just watch this man. He's going to do some great things in this club. Thank you so much, Terence, for joining us. And he's already in the PR committee as well. That's the reason why he mainly joined, to be in the PR. So thank you, Terence.
I appreciate the sentiments. Thank you.
Good. And let me see if we have any newer members here. Alvin Abrar, of course, is from Indonesia. And it's pretty late at night. It's 10:49 at night for him, and he's still here. Alvin, thank you so much for that dedication to be a member from that far away.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here, to be surrounded by amazing speakers.
Good. And everyone liked your grammar report, and so it was a very good report. I could see that from the comments. Thank you very much. And Leya, please copy and paste even more than what you've done. You can actually take everything that we do here and transplant it in your, not only your club, but your area, division, and district.
I am so doing that with a lot of things. So this was just a portion of my copy
Yes.
and paste.
Lovely. You know, Leya, one thing is when I go and speak to other clubs globally out there, I challenge them. I say, give me any club, even if they have 2 members, and I can easily make them into 20 and more members very quickly. We know what we do here, right? We just have to transplant it to other clubs, and they would thrive. Just that's it. Period. Okay, with that, I will pass it back to Bindu, our Toastmaster of the day, to conclude the meeting and to close it. Bindu.
Thank you very much, DTM Brahmamon. Let me take this opportunity to adjourn the meeting. Before that, I would really congratulate all the speakers, all the evaluators, all the role players, and last but not least, all the guests who had made this wonderful meeting a successful one too. Hope you all enjoyed. Let me take this opportunity to adjourn the meeting. Over to you.